yet. You know, we're getting close. Not yet, though. The diet will persist. Just a few, just a few units of time longer. But today, I have eaten a lot of my food that I sort of have myself restricted to. To the point where my post-workout meal is not going to be particularly carb heavy or fat heavy. It's really just going to be lean protein. I'll probably just do egg whites with like some zero sugar barbecue sauce. Just because I kind of had all my carbs already today. You know, a couple of just protein bars, 10 grams of carbs each. Had a few steaks, half pounds each, of course. Some oatmeal. Shit adds up quick. But I'm only saying that now because I'm trying to diet down. As soon as I start bulking up and I reach a point of like, all right, it's getting hard to eat, then I'm going to have the complete opposite problem where I'm going to say, God, these calories won't add up enough. Oh my goodness. You know, so it's kind of a sort of a two sides of the same coin type situation there. But I'm definitely excited to get back to the gains train, making some real weight-based progress. Plus, I've been under 250 for too long. 240, 239. Well, it's 238.5 this morning. Feels strange. It feels. Let's just say I'm ready to be heavy again. But plan for today's arm day, very similar to normal. I'm talking push downs and curls. You know, I'm talking probably. There's not even any point predicting it because it'll just kind of depend on how I feel as I'm warming up. Because I might walk into the gym and say, okay, I think I want to start with some rope push downs. But then as soon as I grab the rope, I don't really love the feeling I'm getting from it that specific day. And then I'll switch to like straight bar. But you know, you have to remember that those little nuances of different exercises, uh, it doesn't change how your workout really looks. All it does is change the handle that you're using. You know, whether you're doing an incline barbell bench or a machine incline press, all your chest knows is it's pushing in this direction with load. So that's where I say don't sweat it, man. As long as you get some heavy hard sets in, some light squeezing ones where you really burn out to the point where you just can't fucking handle it anymore. Plus, you finish your workout with a pump. It's not too complicated, right? I think spending too much energy on the nuances and the minor details, you're going to lose sight of the big picture, which is you just want to go to the gym, exert yourself, and leave. I think the guy who goes to the gym and is much more concerned about like the different parts of his bicep that he's stimulating, like, oh well, like, I want to make sure I target my lower, my front delt and my reverse femoralis. And I've heard these guys before. I hate to call them out, but the guys who start talking to me about their femoralis are not the biggest guys in the gym, in my experience. Now that may just be me, you know, lifter profiling, but that's kind of what I've come across. The real biggest guys are the ones who fucking just they just train like nutcases, man. They're freaks about it. They love it. That's where I think the guys who push themselves the hardest for the longest go the furthest. So a little bit of a denser car talk there, but I think it gets the job done. So let's warm up my elbows, my forearms, my wrists, and everything in between. Get this arm day underway. I have made my decision. I have made my game plan. I've made my game plan. You know, I'm talking. We're huddled. It's fourth quarter. I got my whiteboard out. I know what's about to happen. So, 2 sets of push downs. This being, you know, kind of a heavier sort of style, but still a weight that's well within reason. You know, I mean, as heavy as I go, and as nasty as some of my reps get, you're not going to catch me doing a weight like this where I have to. And come on, you know, I'm going as heavy as I can manageably load the targeted muscle. So, 2 sets here, and then 2 sets of curls. So there's kind of I mean, it's to be debated, you know. Good. Typically, like especially bulking, I like to completely destroy one muscle before I move on to the next one. You know, it's like have your dinner before you have your dessert. But when I'm dieting down, I'm a little bit more lenient because I know if I do all of triceps and it takes me 30 minutes, and then I do all of biceps and it takes me 30 minutes, then at the end of the pose down, I'm going to be fully pumped in the biceps, and my tricep pump will have kind of diminished a little bit. So that's a factor. I like to see my arms completely plump. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, completely plumped. But either way, it's, it is a little bit quicker too. If you're in a rush, if you've got to do an arm day quick, then I would recommend maybe do a sort of superset style. Do a set of push downs, immediately do a set of curls, no rest. You're going to be able to handle it. This isn't so oxygen taxing as like crazy heavy squats are. So just a few things to think about. But no matter what, like if you want to do 2 sets of this and then 2 sets of that, and honestly, I'm not going to hear somebody say their workout and say, "Oh, I'd want to do 3 sets," and then like that's too specific. That doesn't matter. I'm much more concerned about, are their sets hard? Are they pushing themselves to failure? And you know, do they mean it when they say that? Because I'm pretty convinced that a lot of people that comment, and I don't mean like comment on this video, I mean that just talk about like lifting in general on social media. I'm pretty fucking convinced 90% of the people who say they train hard, they really aren't, and I don't mean that as like a jab, but it's just kind of, I think it's just the nature of things, man. You can always train harder. I know I can always train harder. That's why I'm always trying to. But let's get these 2 sets going, and then move on to reasonably heavy curls. I'm not talking the 90 pounders. I'll make a good estimation of my strength. That is, if I can find a cool song. Beloved Dragula. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's wait 1 second, make it a rest pause. Oh my god. One more. Yeah. 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 Okay. Been loving the rest pauses. Yes. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I'm gonna come back to this, but let's go start some curls. Let's take the 65s to the grave. Okay. I'm not done yet. Oh my god. Okay. Oh. One more just like that. And back to heavy push downs. Oh. Okay. Fucking hell. Oh, man. I'm feeling the hour of cardio I did this morning. Back to push downs, goddammit. Same weight as before. Oh, man. Whew. Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah. Okay. No more of this. Next tricep movement is going to be lighter and squeezing, but let's go finish. I know what kind of curls next. You'll see in 1 second. 50-pound preachers, single arm. Perfect. Oh my God. Okay. Oh. Oh. All right. So that's a perfect fucking example of a muscular imbalance. Notice how my right arm was basically failure at 15 reps, whereas my left one got 15 easy. My left bicep's a bit behind, or no. My left bicep is a little bit ahead of the curve. And that's partially to do with like some biomechanics of my elbows and stuff. But for me, my right bicep is a little behind. So when I do single-sided shit for biceps, I do failure on the right side, the weak side, the small side, and match those reps on the bigger side. So basically, my right arm just got a little bit more work than the left one. Now the left one still got work, but the right one's on its track to catching up to the left, if you follow my logic. And you can apply that to whatever. If your left quad is a bit smaller than your right one and a bit weaker, maybe, hit failure on that left side, match reps on the strong side. That's my little muscular imbalance tip of the day. Oh, I got like a hair or something in my mouth on those last few reps. I thought I was going to throw up. Jesus. Good set though. And I have something to say about it. Let me talk to you while I put this dumbbell away. So, if you'll notice, I am not going to a completely straightened arm at the bottom of these. You know, I'm not sitting here and going all the way down to here. Look, I mean, I guess do what you want. It all depends on how it feels for you specifically. But for me to do a heavier set of these dumbbell preachers, you're not going to catch me going even probably, well, I guess as low as I went there is as low as I want to go. Because that's as low as I can comfortably load my biceps and know that when I try to pull back, I'll actually be able to get some movement. Because every video you see where somebody's doing preachers and they have a certain tendon rupture down here, which I don't even want to say the name of because it's so fucking freaky. It's because there's, oh look, you're not going to catch me doing that. You know, you do what you like. You know, if you love doing like 20-pound preachers, go for it. I don't think 20 pounds is going to rip my bicep off. But heavy preachers, you're not going to catch me down here. I'm going to stay right up in here, keep all the tension and what I would consider to be safely being translated through my biceps. But let's do some rope or something, maybe some single arm. Well, really, let's just go see how my triceps feel and decide from there. Moderate weight, single arm. I'm going to do 5 reps on the left, 5 on the right, 5 on the left, back and forth, pretty much until burned out. And I'll make these a little quicker. Honestly, my triceps are already so fatigued from the heavy pushdowns. I'm more so concerned with just pumping them up as much as possible right now. One more. Okay. One more. This one, instead of 5 reps on each side, I'll make it 10. Yeah. 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 Okay. All right. Let's make that kind of a super drop set, whatever. Burn out a straight bar. Yeah. 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 Okay. That's enough for triceps. Let's go do a bicep superset. And honestly, I might just do one more set of biceps and then call it there. I mean, the fatigue and the pump I feel now, that feels like a good workout. And that's something that we'll talk about it after. Definitely lower volume than normal. All right, plan for this finisher. 50-pound dumbbells to as close to failure as I can muster. And then burn out with the 70-pound easy bar, which is not insane weight. But after doing these 50-pound dumbbell curls, it is gonna feel heavy. And at the end of the workout, that is what I'm more concerned about. You know, like we all hear the older school guys, it's kind of a, or even anybody, they say like, you know, make the weight feel heavier by doing it slowly with good form, which I mean, I agree with. I love the sentiment there. But early on in the workout, I do think that part of the merit of a heavy set is the fact that it physically is heavy and you have to contract every fucking muscle fiber you have access to lift it. Now, at the end of the workout, I completely agree. I have no need to try to curl the fucking 70-pound dumbbells right now, nor could I. So instead of doing that, I'm going lighter and kind of leveraging just the sort of pump burnout effect, if you catch my drift. But let's stop talking about it and just make it happen. Okay. Okay. Oh, holy crap. Okay. Time to pose. Time to see what we're looking like. There we go. And with that, a 6 tricep set, 5 bicep set arm day is complete, which I have no problem with. I'm sure you're gonna notice that once I start bulking up, I'm gonna be doing more volume during my workouts because I got more fucking carbs and energy to actually be able to, you know, do that, right? I mean, dieted down, plus I've been ramping up the cardio the last few days. Let's just say I definitely feel like I'm in a deficit. But in no way is that a complaint, merely a fucking observation. But no flexing, no nothing. Seeing some veins poking around. Do not mind that one bit. So my shoulders is because I don't do so much front delt work. Honestly, just because I don't need it. I mean, it's poking out big enough right now. But I do need more rear delt, and most people do. So that's where some heavy face pulls, some heavy reverse flies. I mean, just look at the fucking flex there, man. That's what I'm talking about. And that'll fucking make your arms look bigger. That'll make everything look bigger. Because having capped rear delts, honestly, it's kind of a fucking hidden. It's like the silent killer of physiques. Because if some guy could have the same size triceps, biceps, front delt, side delt as me, but if his rear delt were a touch smaller, or actually, let's say considerably smaller, if you're not hitting rear delts, they're not going to be that big. He's going to kind of get a little bit more of a hunch to look like this, rather than being able to have a big kind of cap look to the point where it's like, as much as my traps are jutting out, my rear delts get to do the same thing. So I'm glad I came to the realization that rear delts deserve a lot of love early on. I mean, even when I used to hit shoulders, there still wasn't front delts. Honestly, I haven't done anything directly front delt related in a real, like, legit workout approach for fucking years. And part of that is just because they get a lot of work from pressing. It's hard for me not to get some front delt activation. That is something I'm kind of constantly trying to work on. And I'm getting better at it now. But that's just, that's a little kind of size, posture, technique thing that is kind of on my plate to deal with. But let's get a couple sort of most musculars in here, and then we can get ready to go. Definitely not Marcus Rule yet, but who knows, man? Maybe once I get up to 300, we'll see some more similarities. Love it. What else? Oh, yeah, sort of a straight up kind of side chest kind of thing. Trying to smush my arm as close to my body as possible to make it look extra cool. Yeah, there we go. All right. What am I talking about? I forgot I posted a YouTube thing earlier for a Q&A. Let's go sit in the car and answer a couple burning questions. I've only had it up for like an hour or so, so if you're seeing this post, I guess by now it's too late. But let's dig into the mind of this guy. There we go. A highly successful arm day complete. So yeah, it's only been about an hour, but there's already 1,000 commented questions. I'm sure a couple of them are repeats, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to get through them all. Maybe I'll kind of save that post for use in the future. But I kind of screenshotted some of the top ones, and then if it goes quick enough, we'll just kind of go back and scroll through some of the new ones. So the first one from the Ukrainers, or the Ukaners: how's the fame change your life on a day-to-day basis? It seems like you've handled it better than most who let it get to their heads. I think probably the most important part there is I'm doing the same stuff that I do anyway. I'm getting up and doing my cardio like I did for years before, lifting like I did for years before, eating the same kind of stuff. It's like nothing's really changed. Now it's just kind of on video, which is crazy fucking wild how big it's gotten. Like I can tell I'm kind of nonchalant with it, like I'm just going about my day like normal. But no, just looking at the numbers, this is like the craziest shit ever. So don't think I'm getting too spoiled about it. Like this is definitely fucking wild for me. Steve to the O says, what's your favorite Minecraft biome to build my base? I don't know if I could say specifically, because honestly, I'm not really an out in the open kind of guy. I'm more of like build it into a cliff with like a waterfall, or like do something underwater. Whichever one. What is the classic biome? What's like kind of the classic, like birch trees and oaks? Whichever one that is, that's kind of what I'm sticking to. Keep it simple. The Wisconsin volleyball team, not verified, so I don't think it's actually them. Where's the Spotify playlist at? Well, the only real problem there is I don't have a Spotify playlist per se. I just kind of go through my liked tracks. So I've got like 900 liked songs. I guess I could, I'll see if I can kind of just convert that to a new playlist, and then I can post the link to that. Because I don't think you can post, or you can have your like liked songs linked like that. I guess that's something for me to look into. I'll jot that down. Gojo or Sukuna? I don't know, man. They're both kind of well, I don't know, man. Gojo's getting dogged on right now. Sukuna's he's never failed the clutch. So, if I had to pick, I'd probably say Sukuna. I'm getting more hyped up from a Sukuna edit than I am from a Gojo one. But it's by a hair. They're both fucking baller. I think the real question is add Toji in there. Right? Now that's a fucking debate. Because honestly, sure, not by strength. Obviously he got dogged. But in terms of aura, I don't know, man. Toji's kind of top dog in my opinion. JG12352, are you ever going to do a bodybuilding show? With 27 likes. Come on, what are you guys talking about? Is that a real question? Of course I am. Right? Give me some time. But I think the generalized plan at this point, at least that I'm kind of beginning to loosely follow, is I'm thinking early next year. Because at the end of this next kind of 5, 6, however many month bulking phase I'm going to hit, I do not, and this may be delusion, but I do not feel, let's just say I feel pretty confident in saying that I think the off-season weight is going to be a decently lean, 275, 280. Like, that doesn't seem crazy for me right now. So I guess the proof will be in the pudding on how big I can actually get. But no, and if you're 270 lean off-season at my height, I don't know what you're doing if you're not doing a competition, But no, that's the plan. It's just I'm not in a rush, If you can have infinite time to prepare, why not be a freak first? Why not be a total freak show first, and then roll up? And even if you're not the best guy there, you still look like a fucking baller, So that's my approach. I want to make sure there's a pretty cool package before I put the amount of time and energy that it's going to take to get show ready. Because you got to remember, a bodybuilding show takes a lot of fucking time and effort to do. You don't just do it. You don't just do a 2-month diet and then you do a show. This is more of like, I'm in kind of 2.5 months deep of this diet now. I'm talking an extra month and a half plus kind of a peak week. Very kind of strenuous in a way. And what that is to me is time that I'm not growing. And for my kind of goals, the bodybuilding side of things, growing is the actual driving force that's pushing me further progress-wise. So I want to spend as much time as I can growing and getting bigger and developing lean tissue before I do my first competition. I want to really max out the weight cap. That's kind of where my head's at there. But it'll happen. It's going to happen. I'm talking posing trunks, tan, oiled up, to music. You'll see it. You'll see it. Just wait for it. HXSAIN. What is your biggest purpose in life with everything you've got going on now? It's so much different now than it was a year ago. Has the purpose changed? I don't think it is that much different now than it was a year ago. I kind of forget how long I've been doing this. I've been posting these daily videos for like a year and a half. My daily routine has not changed much at all, except for the fact that now I'm not going to school. I'm all done with college. So what's the biggest purpose? I don't know. It kind of depends on what you would consider your purpose per se. I know that I get to wake up every day and I've got the bodybuilding training and the diet on my mind. Like, that's something that I get to do and put a lot of energy and effort into. But that's not your entire life. That's a few hours that you get to spend, exerting yourself, having fun, practicing something, getting good at something, being proficient at anything and practicing it consistently. That's a pretty massive fucking source of just like satisfaction with being alive, but there is more to it, right? So it's kind of I guess you could say that's the purpose per se, right? The bodybuilding training is probably my number one priority in terms of something I'm actively working on. But the rest of it's just kind of, trying to enjoy, right? Not getting any serious trouble, So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. But that's something that'll change, It's not like, I'm sure what I'm going to say in 5 years is very different than what I'm saying right now. So it's, just go about your business, get good at whatever you're trying to get good at, stack your bread. I think we all get the gist. Favorite bodybuilders growing up? Ooh, you know what? I was a real massive, and I still am on occasion. Not as much now. I feel like I'm so. I don't know if you kind of get what I'm saying here. Anybody who's been lifting for a long time might, but I feel like the longer you work out, the less videos you watch of people working out. Didn't mean to stutter there, but it's like I don't know. But early on, massive fucking. I would love all the Machiavelli motivation videos. I'm talking old school like Tom Platz, Kevin Levrone, Dorian Yates, somebody, fucking everybody. You know, all the top dogs from the 2000s earlier on. I'm watching all these workout edits, fucking hype up motivational everything. That's fucking badass. I watch that stuff now, and it still gets me hyped up like I'm a fucking year one lifter trying to do 225 for the first time. But in terms of more kind of actual, not actual, but kind of more current guys, love Larry Wheels shit. Absolute fucking demon. You know, fucking everybody. And it kind of varies. But pretty much the guys that I end up liking the most are the guys who are pushing themselves the hardest. And are doing it consistently, you know? Like anybody who's kind of just like videos of guys where they're in the gym and it's just kind of goofing off or whatever. I don't know, it just doesn't do it as much for me. You know, if I'm watching somebody, if I'm looking up to somebody, it's because they're pushing themselves as hard as they fucking can, and you can tell. You know, so that's kind of those are the guys that always get me going. I've been watching your videos for a year. I wanted to let you know I'm 195 pounds and climbing. Very nice, Zach Short 1423. I've been doing my cardio in the morning and working an 8 to 5 during the day and lifting at night. I know you used to work painting roads. How did you consistently get food in throughout the day when you worked? So this is where I might not actually have the most perfect answer for you, because my kind of routine through college was when I was going to school, I just went to school. I wasn't working at the time, and I would work during the summers. So I would work in the city. That's when I had my shift was 6:30 to 2:30, and what I would do is I would just make sure that I was dieting during that time. So I didn't actually have to deal with, you know, prepping a ton of meals and like getting a lot of food in because I was in a deficit. You know, I'd kind of save my food for after the shift, and at 2:30 I'd have my first kind of big meal, and then go weight train, come back, you know, have like 1,700 calories for the rest of the night, go to bed early, and that would be the gist of it. But if I had to give you any tip, man, I mean, you got to be the guy carrying around a big ass lunchbox cooler with some meals prepped in it. Plus, I do not mind a protein shake where you got 2 scoops of whey of whichever one you fancy, and then 3 or 4 packets of like instant oatmeal. I'm talking like the Quakers, like strawberry, blueberry, like the fruity flavored ones. So you can pack that dry. You can keep that on you all the time like a goddamn MRE. And then when it's time for you to get that meal in, that's 100 grams of fucking carbs and 50 grams of protein. And it's going to go down like nothing when you shake it up. You know, because the oatmeal may still be a little gritty just because it's not like boiled, cooked. But if you let that soak for like 20 minutes before you drink it, you're not going to have a problem. But yeah, it's kind of hard to get around it. If you're going to be away from home or away from like a food source, if you're not working from home or whatever, for more than like 5 hours at a time, you either need access to food when you're gone or you've got to prep some stuff. Because a 5 hour time gap in the day when you don't get food in a bodybuilding, like bulking context, that's going to hit you hard. And it's going to kind of throw off your momentum. That's something that I'm really kind of putting a lot of emphasis into now for this upcoming bulking phase, is I'm going to really evenly distribute my calories throughout the day so that I never have like a 5 hour period where I don't eat anything and then I have to eat more later on and like try to catch up. If you're bulking, if you're trying to hit like a certain calorie goal for the day and you're trying to play catch up to that calorie number at night, you're setting yourself up for failure. You know, and anybody who's really tried to bulk but has been doing it like that would know what I'm talking about, because it's going to be 8 o'clock at night. You've got 2,000 more calories to eat, and you were kind of irresponsible during the day. You didn't get your meals in. So now it's almost 10. What are you supposed to do? Slam a 2,000 calorie shake? You know, it's not conducive with long-term, high volume consumption of food. You know, so that's where I'm starting to get under the impression that these legit kind of bodybuilders know what they're talking about when they say you want nice, evenly sized, consistent meals, you know, 40 grams of protein, 80 grams of carbs, some fats, Now, I definitely think I'm going to have a lot of kind of chicken rice. Like, I'm talking meal prep for this next bulking phase. I'm still going to have like fucking, hamburgers and fries and whatever else. But I really want to emphasize that eating consistently sized and evenly dispersed meals throughout the day, I think is going to make getting in your calories much easier than just trying to have massive meals, kind of more sporadic. So if that helps, maybe just try to get your 4 meals in per day or 5 meals in per day, but just make sure they're all about the same size. If you have a massive breakfast, you might not be so hungry for that lunch and you're going to end up eating less. Whereas if you have a moderate sized meal every time, I think it's going to be a little bit easier to get in the groove of just chowing down. Did you imagine yourself becoming a popular gym influencer when you started the channel? Well, not necessarily. I mean, I definitely posted these videos because the basic origin or the basic kind of upbringing in a way was I was posting like joke kind of style TikToks for like 6 months straight. But it would be funny because I'm saying like a random ass like Lizzo squat challenge and I'm squatting like 500 pounds. But if you're squatting a lot of weight like that, people are kind of interested. Like, what kind of training is this guy fucking doing? So I'd get enough comments that were like, we want to see the actual training videos. And I'm like, if this is this is where the YouTube account had like 2,000 subscribers, and these first few videos were getting like 1,000 views a week. But in my mind, I'm like, dude, 1,000 people want to see the training? Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna record it. I was already working out anyway. It's really not that hard. Well, it's not that much work per se to now suddenly record something that I was already doing. If I'm already going to drive to the gym, do an hour workout, hour and a half workout, then drive back, it pretty much fits perfectly to fucking just slap the camera in there and start spewing some intel. It's definitely, if that's you though, if you kind of want to start posting stuff, and I mean videos where you're talking to the camera, that's a skill. That's something that you're going to have to get used to. Before I even posted the first like spring bulk, like last year, it was a leg day, I would put my phone on the tripod in the car and talk to myself on the way to the gym like probably maybe 8 or 9 times or something, I'm not sure, just to kind of develop a little bit of a, because for you, I'm talking to you directly, but for me, I'm talking to nobody, so it's a little funky. It kind of takes a little bit of practice, but no, I definitely did not imagine that it would get as big as it has now. In no fucking way. I thought it would get kind of big. Like, that's what I was hoping, right? If you start posting anything, that's what you hope. But no, it definitely exceeded my expectations. You guys are spoiling me. Zico the Don says, when you record at these gyms, do you get permission or do they not really care? It depends on the gym. The tripod culture is getting a little more normal, which to some people is very fucking annoying. But it depends on the gym. If you're going to a new Planet Fitness you've never been to and it's packed and you want to like record some clips to make a TikTok edit of your workout, maybe use some caution, right? Because that's not necessarily the place to just bust out a tripod. But if you're going to just like your normal gym, you're a regular, I wouldn't stress it. Honestly, I think you probably should. I'm not talking record every set. It is kind of much, and I know I do that, so I'm kind of like, it doesn't sound so genuine coming from me. But I do like the tripods now because honestly, it's so much easier to record your own progress. Like when I look back at my training photos and my training videos, I have barely anything from the first 3 years of me lifting. Like I've got like side chests and like lat spreads and shit where I'm holding the camera. But if I actually had a legit tripod that I was putting my phone on and doing like little posing videos and like workout videos and like recording my sets and stuff, I definitely wish I did, so $20 on Amazon for just a phone tripod, I think is worth it. If not for posting, just for your own historical value so you can look back at yourself when you're training. Because sure, you doing a top set of bench may seem kind of mundane right now, but you're going to want to look back at it in a couple years. If not just for, enjoyment, but you can also kind of compare it to where you are now. So I kind of flipped that question around, but I think get a tripod, just for your own sake. The new villain, if you're cutting but you have a muscle group that's a bit behind, Should you increase the calories on the day you train that lagging muscle group and keep all the other days at a deficit? Well, it's not going to hurt you. The only thing that would really matter there is, are you in a deficit the entire time? You know? Because if you have 3 days where you're eating in a deficit, like let's say let's say right here is like calorie maintenance. If you eat slightly below maintenance for 3 days, but then one day you have a really high day, this one really high day can counteract those 3 days in your deficit. So I like the logic, and honestly, I don't think it's a bad approach, but you got to make sure that that kind of higher feed day doesn't exceed and counteract the 3 good days you had in a deficit, you know. But no, I think that'd be fine. If I knew my legs were a bit weaker, then I might do the same. Like if I had a body part that was especially weaker, then I might do the same thing. You know, if my legs really need a lot of work, I might have more of kind of a calorie maintenance intake on my leg days, just so I can kind of leverage some more weight, get some more stimulus, and then, you know, hopefully maybe a little bit more muscle mass, or at least more muscle retention through the process of dieting. But yeah, man, love the content. Started watching when I was training to be an airline pilot. You're going to be the most jacked airline pilot out there. You're goddamn right, man. That's fucking badass. Spoot D12. What's your opinion about combining the gym with a combat sport such as boxing? I think that is fucking badass. You know, I'm not necessarily so inclined to get into any kind of rolling or, you know, sparring sessions right now, because I don't want to like tweak my elbows and like hurt myself or anything. But eventually, once I get to the point where I'm kind of at my kind of, let's say, maintenance physique, whenever that ends up being, I could totally get into some of that. And honestly, I'd probably feel pretty cool knowing I get a little bit more confidence in being able to handle myself. You know, even though I'm gonna be 260, actual hand-to-hand fighting experience, let's just say it can definitely counteract a certain weight discrepancy. You know, so I think that's a fucking badass combo. And then that's pretty solid cardio. You know, if you go to your boxing gym fucking 3 times a week early in the morning for an hour, you're gonna be drenched as long as you're actually, you know, pushing yourself hard. So I love it. Just don't get concussed. You know, wear your headgear. Aiden5353 says, how far do you plan on going with the YouTube content? And do you have any long-term goals for bodybuilding? Well, those two things got to go hand in hand, you know. Like as long as I'm working out in bodybuilding, there's going to be videos. So it's really, I think the real question is just how far is the bodybuilding side of things going to go, and that's to be determined. You know, as long as everything's going well, I foresee some pretty wild muscle growth in the next few years. But that's something where we'll just have to see. So keep your eyes open, right? Tune into one of these videos every week or so, or every month or so, and see how I'm doing. But yeah, it's just as long as I'm lifting, it's not too hard for me to pump out one of these. Plus, you guys watch them, so I feel like I owe you in a way. It's like, why would I take away the daily videos, you know? Drew IHG43 says, would you suggest doing cardio on separate days to lifting or on the same day? So, I think in an ideal routine, you're going to be able to do your cardio training every morning of every week, to infinity, barring, serious injury or sickness. And then weight train in the evening. That's what I like. Now, some guys like lifts in the morning and they would maybe do their cardio in the evening, whatever. For me, I like cardio every day, lifting every day. Now, if I need a rest day, then I'll take one. But if you do your cardio at 8 in the morning and you don't work out until 6 at night, you're not going to feel that cardio at 6 at night. I might have said I was feeling a little tired today, but that's just because I'm in a deficit. I was no longer fatigued from that cardio this morning. As the whole day passed, I got to eat my food, kind of recover, rest up. I'm totally ready for a hard lift at night. So I say do your cardio in the morning, go about your day, have a hard lift in the evening. Perfect. Now, if you got to kind of change that around because of your day-to-day routine, do what you got to do. But somehow, if you can manage to get both of those sessions in, or maybe not even sessions, just like go for a walk, everybody's got a treadmill in their basement with like clothes hanging off of it. It can be done. It is a chore though, so ease into it. Don't feel bad if you're not doing your cardio yet, but I really hope that you're at least thinking about adding it into your routine. Jose Bernardino 3535 says, how do you stay so consistent? I can always start a fitness journey strong, but I fall so hard all the time. What keeps me going? So I'm spoiled. I'm late in the game right now. Or maybe not late in the game. I'm deep in the game right now. I've gone through the initial phase of being a beginner to the point where I've got substantial gains. So every time I get to go to the gym, I also orient my whole day around it. I'm pretty much always in the zone. I can't even remember the last time I had a bad lift. And even the lifts where I'm like, I got jack shit for sleep and I kind of feel sick, I still like it anyway, because then, I kind of get the satisfaction of finishing that workout, even if it was hard and I felt bad. I get to finish the workout and say, even though I felt bad, I still did that. Nice. So it's kind of like, I think you might be thinking about this question in the wrong way. Like when guys ask me, like, what gets me hyped up for like a big heavy set? It's like, Sam, what demons are you fighting when you're like screaming doing a set of 5-plate squats? It's like, I just want to do it, The act of like pushing myself that hard and like the training and just going, like, I'm just wired in a way where I love it. And it shows. Sometimes in a bad way, I think for me, if you look at like the screen time of my thoughts in my brain, the gym is number one. I'm thinking about it, diet, sleep, the training, everything. Like the one thing I probably spend the most time doing except for sleeping, it's probably working out. And that is definitely not a good thing for every person. So of course for me, if that's my thing, if I really fucking love doing it, I don't necessarily need motivation per se. I just want to. If you ask a goddamn local from Hawaii, why does he go surf every night, or why does he go surf every morning? He likes it, So that's where you might have to try to figure out. And this is something I'll say in 1 second, but you got to figure out a way to like it. And that's where looking up to guys and like seeing guys training hard. Like when I see videos of fucking Dorian Yates, whenever I do machine pullovers, that's instantly who I think about. So that's I want to recreate that kind of intensity, even if I can't get it as hard as he's going yet. That's the stuff that like I'm hyped up, I'm energized, I just like it. So if you have a training routine that you don't like, and you don't like it, then that's something you got to change. Because if you can't, you have to make your training routine fit your life. If you try to make your life fit a random training routine that someone has written out for you, or that you've like just suddenly come up with, it's going to be kind of tricky, You have to be able to ease into it, because if it becomes a chore, you kind of already failed in a way, And I don't mean failed, but like the guys who can lift on the daily, on the regular, for years on end, they don't really think of the gym as a chore. They're excited about it, So I think you just have to somehow spark some kind of internal fucking excitement. And that's easier said than done, So that's kind of on you, man. That's your own kind of internal journey. But once you can do that, it's no longer a question of like motivation. You want to do it. So that's if we could pull an Inception and I could get into your mind and like flip that lift and switch, I would. But we live in the real world, so you got to figure that out on your own. Centopane, what are your top 5 anime? And bonus question, would you be open to streaming gaming content in the future? The gaming side of things, maybe. That seems kind of funny. But top 5 anime, I've got some. I don't have one that like supersedes any other, but I'm talking JoJo, I'm talking Berserk, I'm talking One Piece, I'm talking Attack on Titan. And honestly, even though it's like a little kiddish, Demon Slayer is getting pretty cool, right? Every time there's a new episode, I'm watching the Hashira training arc. It's pretty fucking badass. And then, I know you said 5, but number 6, Tokyo Ghoul's in there as well. Those, oh man, now you're getting me rolling. Parasite the Maxim, really good. I like this one called Dorohedoro. It's about this guy with an alligator head. It's kind of 3D animated, but they did it tastefully. And I got a whole list. I got a whole fucking list. And if you're not watching any of those, if you're just limiting your media consumption to like Suits and young Sheldon, I think you're missing out. I think you're missing out on some pretty fucking top tier storytelling there. So, this is a good one. ISRAHNN, like death row meals, but it's death row training. What would your last training session look like? Well, I might be inclined to try to do a lot of weight, but if it's my last training session ever, I probably wouldn't want to hurt myself. So I think this question really comes down to which lifts or which part of my body do I want fully pumped. This is my last pump ever. And put your guesses in now. What do you think it's going to be? Wrong. Or right, if you were right. Probably fucking chest, you know. Because a chest pump, apart from the fact that having my chest being pumped up is cool, my chest days are a little extra. You know, I turn the knob to 11 on my chest pumps. And I'll explain why. What happens is, for one thing, at the end of chest, my chest is fucking pumped. Sick. But since I did heavy pressing, presumably, my triceps also got a decent amount of activation. Not to the point where they're going to be sore or I feel like they're going to be like weak in a few days when I do actual, you know, my real tricep workout. But I'm going to get a little bit of a tricep pump from the heavy pushing. And then, also from the heavy pushing, my shoulders are going to be going. And not just front delt, side delt, and probably rear delt a little bit too. Because my shoulder's like the number one kind of stabilizer that's keeping my arm from being all willy-nilly when I'm pressing. Like, my whole kind of fucking shoulder is firing just to keep my pressing in line. And whenever I finish with cable flies or even pec deck flies, I've got some tension being transferred through my biceps. And usually that's my last movement of the lift. So when I finish a good, hard chest day, not only is my chest pumped, my triceps are kind of pumped, my biceps are kind of pumped, my shoulders are kind of pumped, my whole torso is like just a fucking level above baseline. So if I was guaranteed about to croak, chest is going to be my last day. That was a really good question. I love seeing that one. So why did I start lifting and what motivated me early on? What's your motivation to train so hard? And then one more. Can you show me in the video for an edit? And greet me. My name is Sabu. Well, there you go with that one. But what's my motivation? I mean, I said this a second ago. I just like it, man. You know, it's fun. And then also, there is a little bit of kind of a, you know, active part of that too. I don't just like it. I also know that if you can find something, if you can basically fill this hole which you've got inside you, which you may not know is there, with something that you get to work at on the regular, like every day, put a lot of effort into, and also enjoy the process of doing it, that is going to make your days feel so much better, you know? Because if you don't have something like that, if you know somebody who's like a serious, and it could be anything, if you know somebody who's like a serious fucking gun nut, and they're going to the gun range every fucking day, or maybe they're like a competitive shooter, or they're fucking, or whatever. A real good example, guys that do jiu-jitsu, guys that box, even if they're not actually competing, they get to do that pretty consistently throughout the week. You know, they also get to break a sweat, which is really fucking good for your brain. I mean, you're releasing some good dopamine. You know, I'm not talking like sitting and doom scrolling on your phone, like the kind of feel good chemicals that are pumping out into your brain from doing solid exercise. That's good for you. That's something you're going to want to maximize. So taking all that into account, that also pushes me to know, like, okay, this is good for me. This is nice. And now I'm in the thick of it. I get to wake up every day and I have something which I know I'm going to put energy into, and I know I'm going to get energy back from the enjoyment of doing it. You know, so if you don't have something like that, that's your cue. That's your call to action to say, all right, I got to find what I like. I got to find what I'm good at. And sometimes those two things aren't in line with each other. You know, I'm extra spoiled because I like working out, and at this point I am good at it. Right? Somebody could like the idea of playing guitar, but if they just, no matter how much they practice, they can never get good at it. It's, you know, it might be kind of more of a dead end kind of situation, you know? Or somebody, I mean, anybody like prodigy level per se, like real high level at anything, sometimes they might be really good at something, but just not really like it. They don't get any fun from it. So if you can find something which is somehow in the middle of those two things, and you can work at it consistently and make noticeable progress over time, you're going to realize some pretty serious fucking satisfaction and contentness with your days. And I believe that pretty wholeheartedly. Hey Sam, what do you think about Luffy's new Gear 5? I think it's a little OP. I think it's a little OP. I mean, they pretty much just buffed him. But the fact that the Gorosei are so fucking tough too kind of makes it balance out. So I think it's cool. I mean, I've been following that for the last like 7 years or so. So it's definitely cool. I don't know what else they would have done, but I like it. I definitely like it. Honest thoughts on calisthenics and powerlifting. And then Ahmad Aldori, what do you think about calisthenics? Same thing. So I don't know. I like it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a different kind of training. That's not really what I'm into. If I wanted to learn how to do planches and handstands and kind of street workouts, that's what I'd be doing. And these guys look good too. Anybody who's really doing serious calisthenics, or they can do like legit muscle ups and they're spinning around like doing flips, and they look good. And you know why that is? It's because they do something active like for hours at a time, pretty frequently throughout the week, and they get to kind of spend some serious time and energy on it. So I think somehow everybody needs some kind of physical outlet. Everybody from every age, demographic, race, gender, everything. I think that you need to break a sweat every day. And however you do that is however you do it, Like I feel like I'm a little bit I'm like split down the middle in a way. Where sometimes I'm giving advice about the gym where it's like, you've got to take this set as hard as you ever fucking can. Just because you know you can. Like if you know you have a little more energy left in the tank, try to get as much water out of the towel as like I'm talking to the freak show. That's me talking to the potential freak show. But on the other side, kind of the more like softer, fluffier side, it's like the gym's just good for you. It is literally just good for you to get weight-based muscular activation on a consistent basis and doing your cardio. So no matter how you do that, if you want to do polo classes or fucking Pilates or those videos where it's like the suburban moms and with the elastic bands and they're like swinging around the yoga room, who cares? I think if you're active on the regular, that is very good for you. So if that's from calisthenics or whatever, that sounds cool to me. And then powerlifting, I fucking love powerlifting. I'm watching powerlifting videos, getting hyped up. I'm not a powerlifter, but I like it. And then a little side note, I'm just going to kind of insert a question because it kind of matches. Sumo or conventional, I mean, I'll be honest with you, a 18-year-old 150-pound guy pulling the same amount as John Hack on a conventional deadlift, and this guy's doing sumo. I mean, I think, well, it just kind of depends on what you really define strength as. Is it because it's skill? Like strength is also skill, but if that kid tried to do it conventional, would it be the same number? It's not for me to say. I'm not the powerlifting organization that's making these rules, but they're both pretty fucking wild. When I see 600 pounds moving, no matter what the method, that's pretty fucking nuts. But I think sometimes if you only got like 2-inch range of motion, you're getting a little wild. You're getting a little wild with it there. Oh, and that was the last one. Let me try to scan for a few more. See, I already kind of answered these ones already. Favorite anime? Top 5 anime again. Alright, I gotta answer these ones. I gotta keep scrolling. ALCXTRXZ, how fast can you render a spoon unusable in a diplomatic situation? So, not including magic where I hold it like this and I like pretend to bend it. He's talking like I'm taking a thing of silverware off the table underneath, do a little magic, bring it up into a ball like Jack Hanma chewing up a nail. Give me 20 seconds. I think you give me 20 seconds and I can pretty much wreck a spoon into nothingness. But it kind of depends on the spoon, man, When you go to the grocery store and you look in the silverware aisle, you've got the $10 set of silverware, you got the $10 50-piece set, And then you got the $80 50-piece set. And I'm no strongman. You know, you're not going to catch me bending an actual, like, steel skillet like Eddie Hall can, like butter. So I think I could do it. I don't think that's necessarily the most insane test of strength that I've ever heard of. So I could, let's say 30 seconds. That's my final number there. Let me try to find one more. Let's just find one little more in here. There we go. This will be a good finisher as we drive home. Just tell me more about the cat, to be honest. Let me know their story from Plupajou. That's a perfect ender. So, the cat, the little feline, his name is Oliver. He is, at this point, I believe, actually, crap, how old is he? I need to, like, find, I can't remember. I think he's about a year old, because I'm pretty sure we got him last summer as a kitten. One of my mom's work friends had a litter of them that they were seeing if anybody could adopt. So our last cat was she got up to like 17. She just got sick. She was a total demon. I'm talking, you know, catching mice, squirrels, birds, rabbits, the occasional chipmunk, like, on to the point where it kind of became a chore to actually deal with the guts, because she was more of a trophy killer. She'd bring the guts to the back door, leave them, and then we'd have to kind of clean them up. But it had been a few years, and I'm like, this house is missing a cat. You know, honestly, if you're living in a place where you've got a big enough yard to have an outdoor cat, half outdoor, half indoor, I don't think you're going to regret that move. So it had been long enough. I'm like, you guys got to get a kitten. My dad really didn't care for it. He's like, it's going to be a mess. But I convinced my mom. I was like, anytime you see a lead, make that move. So we brought him over. We've kind of been doing a half inside, half outside sort of approach with him. But he's funny. He's pretty funny. Not the most cuddly cat that I've ever seen. Oh, there we go. That guy's he's in a floored red truck. I saw you there. He's waving. But yeah, not the most cuddly, not the most affectionate, but he's wild. He's wild to the point where we're letting him outside and he's gone for like 3 days before we see him again. But he would catch a few mice and stuff. He's kind of indoor. We we feed him, but he'll catch some stuff too. But it's kind of funny. I can tell when he misses me. Like if I've been gone for a week or two and then I suddenly come back and I haven't seen him for a minute, you know, he's extra nice, rubbing his head on me and everything. Love that little guy. You know, it's nice having a little kitty companion running around. Yeah. So I guess kind of translating that question, am I a dog or am I a cat person? Well, I mean, you're fucking comparing apples to oranges, man. You know, they're completely different animals, completely different vibes. You know, you could roughhouse with your dog a little bit, but you're a little more cuddly with the cat. So I'm more of a kind of a 2-for-1 deal. Just get one of each. It's oh yeah, I totally forgot about this. So since the cat was raised in the house with our dog already fully grown, the cat is Oliver's a little doggish to the point where they wrestle. You know, I'm talking, we've got a couple videos where the dog, this is a 40-pound little golden doodle, the dog gets like suplexed to the floor because the cat will grab her neck and bite her. That's always fun. That's always fun to watch. But yeah, hope I'll do more of these. I'll do these more frequently. You guys were asking some good questions. So plan now is go home, get some food in my system, get some actually really get some protein in my system. I'm talking a tub of 10 servings of egg whites. And if you're dieting down and you're buying like a dozen whole eggs and then separating the yolks, that's not it, man. You know, it is so quick to make 50 grams of protein worth of eggs when all you have to do is pour the eggs from the carton into your pan and then kind of stir fry it up. And you know what I've been doing? This will be my last little tip before we just talk about the lift and everything. is when it comes to ground beef and like even the egg whites too, I haven't really been cooking them in a pan anymore. I'm much more of a fucking like small pot kind of guy. Just because if I have to set ground beef down to the pan, I don't want to stir it because I don't want to like spill it outside. So I end up leaving it on low. It's kind of taking forever. Now what I've kind of been doing is I just slam the heat to high. I can throw in a pound of ground beef. And now, of course, I got to sit there and kind of actively stir it up so like the bottom doesn't burn or anything. But it's like the quickest method. It's like the fastest method I know of. So I've been doing the same thing with the eggs, where I just throw them into a pot, decently high heat, non-stick. Just kind of stir it up like a fucking automatic fried rice cooker. And then once it's done, bowl, mustard, low-fat hot sauce or zero sugar barbecue sauce, some low-carb bread on the side. That's fucking perfect for me. So cardio in the morning, followed by a leg workout, the likes of which I'm definitely gonna try to get very well rested for. And then we are getting close to actually starting to eat again. So if you're still watching, I'm always looking at the analytics of these. The viewership dies down. So if you're still watching, you're definitely you're one of the dedicated viewers, that's for sure. But when it comes to this bulk, I'm gonna go about it as such. I've tried bulking up historically by pretty much launching myself into a massive surplus right off the rip. I'm talking 5,000 calories on day one, indefinitely. So I know I'm in a surplus, but what happens is I get an immediate 3 months of like really solid weight gain, but then I just can't keep it going, because I've kind of oversaturated my system. So this last bulk where I got up to 260, that was my heaviest morning weight, like empty stomach, fasted, and after going to the bathroom. So legit 260 for the first time. It was the easiest I'd ever got that heavy because I eased into the calories over time, which I've always said this to myself, but I just haven't ended up doing it because I kind of always felt like more is better. But the way that these next few months are going to look is for this first month, I'm essentially just going to eat as much as I'm hungry for. So, I'm not going to give myself a calorie limit, except for the fact that I'm going to make sure my fats don't get too high. I'm going to limit my fat intake to like 150 grams per day. And my protein is still going to be the same 250 grams that I'm doing right now, dieting. But when it comes to the carbs, for this first month, I'm pretty much just going to eat when I'm hungry. So eat enough to, be full, and then go from there. So what that's going to look like is probably about 3,500 calories, maybe 4,000 calories, but nothing crazy. I want to get my appetite in gear and my metabolism in gear, but I don't want to overeat. Especially during these first few weeks, I'm not going to be able to do anything with an extra 1,000 calories on top of a surplus. All I'm gonna end up doing is speeding up my fucking fat deposit time. So even though the main issue people have with bulking up is the fact that I can't eat enough food to grow. If bulking is not necessarily a problem for you, then you might need to be a little bit more cautious with how much food you're eating, because if you're gaining weight too fast, odds are you're not gaining 5 pounds of muscle per week. It's more likely you're putting on maybe 1 or 2 at the max, but then you're really just putting on an extra few pounds of fat. So just as you want to diet with a reasonable rate, you want to bulk at a reasonable rate as well. Because if you try to exceed that rate and go too fast, then what's going to happen, if you diet too hard, you're going to start to lose fat and muscle. And if you try to bulk too hard, too quickly, you're going to start gaining muscle, but you're going to also start putting fat on top of it, So that's where I think easing into it is going to help my progress immensely. So month 1, when I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. And that's going to start as basically the baseline calorie intake of getting me to about maintenance. Because for me, me eating enough to the point where I'm not hungry, that's about maintenance. That's about where my appetite is at. I don't have a naturally crazy appetite to the point where I'm just instantly gaining weight as soon as I let my guard down and I start eating whatever I feel like. and my appetite's big enough that I'm not like crazy lean because I'm not like hungry. I'm kind of right in the middle. So this first month is just going from deficit to about calorie maintenance. And then I'm going to increase month to month. Or maybe 3 weeks to 3 weeks, it's to be determined. But every month I'm going to end up eating a bit more than I did in the last month. And what I predict is going to happen is I am just going to continue to fucking grow like a goddamn weed until we get to the point where I just physically can't eat enough food and can't, maintain the calorie intake to sustain muscle growth. And I'll be able to say, like, okay, I'm not growing. I really can't eat any more food now. Like, I'm trying to optimize everything. It's just not going to happen. Now I can start dieting down. The bulk has been completed. I've done as much as I could. And I don't want you to hear that as though, because I just said it. I can't eat any more food. It's time to stop the bulk. Yeah, I think that's a good indicator you've bulked hard enough. But that should be late. That should be late stage bulk. I'm talking months deep. If it's 1 month in and you're telling yourself, I can't eat any more food. I hate to be rude about it, but in a way you do kind of have to just suck it up. Because just as dieting and burning fat and getting leaner is a chore, you physically have to pretty much be in a state of relative hunger all day and not satiate it. The same thing goes with bulking. You can't expect to just eat when you're hungry and gain substantial weight and muscle mass. You have to actually put energy and effort into it and make sure your food is on point. As much as I like, and I've said this a couple times before already, as much as I like really focusing on my training and making sure the training is right, plus my sleep, but that's kind of basic. I know that I should get good sleep. That's a cut and dry approach. Like, I know if I did that right and I know if I did that wrong. But the dieting side, the calorie intake side, that is the real fucking separator of men versus boys. Because the guys who can actually lock in on their diet and get their protein intake in and get their consistent meals in, and if they're dieting down, limiting their calories, or if they're trying to bulk up, making sure they're eating enough consistently to gain weight, those are the guys who actually get results. And if you're not at that point yet, I really just kind of have to say, you have to know, like, that's where you're going to want to be. The guys who make serious fucking results, natural or not, are the guys who fucking have their diet locked in. And I know it sucks because it's a chore, right? A lot of people like the gym because they get to go work out, be in decent shape, but not worry about their diet. But if you know you want more than that, if you know you want more results and more progress than that, and you know you're willing to work at it, then you really do have to get your diet on point. And I'm thinking the same thing. I'm not saying this from like, you have to eat exactly like, I'm trying to work on my fucking diet. Look, I've gotten this big, and a non-negligible amount of donuts and cereal and McDonald's has contributed to it. But I'm talking like I gotta fucking start to lock in, because as crazy as it sounds, getting to 250, it's a lot easier than getting to fucking 280. So I got to make sure that every variable is getting as close to on point as possible. And in doing so, I can expect results from those added challenges and difficulties. But, I really can't say it plainly enough. If you're not gaining weight, you're not eating enough food. And if you're not losing weight, then you're eating too much food. And there's really no way to get around it. So the sooner you can really realize that, like, not just hear words, but actually understand that in your own mind and be able to realize, like, oh shit, yeah, I just had a fucking massive calorie day. I gotta lock it in tomorrow, or else I'm not even gonna be dieting anymore. You gotta kind of take hold of your own reality there and take some responsibility, because it's easy not to worry about it. It's easy not to worry about your diet, but you are missing out. More likely, you are missing out more than you know. I'll give you this hypothetical, man. What if for the next 6 months, you actually made sure that you got your, 200 grams of protein in, that you actually got your 500 grams of carbs and your 150 grams of fats in, and like you trained hard and you were full of carbs? And what kind of results do you think would happen if you did 6 months of a real diet, be it bulking or dieting, and combine that with hard, consistent training. What would you look like? Because I can guarantee after 6 months of that, no matter if you're a beginner or a semi-advanced lifter, if you really lock it in, after not that long, it's going to show. So if you're not making any gains, if you're not making any progress, if you're just kind of repeating the same day over and over again, where you look the same, you lift the same weights, you have the same injuries, you just keep repeating the same loop, you can't expect any change to just happen magically. If you didn't make any results this past month, if you do the same training, why would you expect any new results this month? So that's where you got to kind of look at yourself from the third person and say, oh, well, maybe getting 80 grams of protein in per day isn't ideal. You know, and it's unfortunate to say that is not a rare scenario that I hear. So that's I think that's all I got to say there. Arms complete, pumped, tired. I'm fucking starving. So I'm ready to eat some food, go to bed, and have dreams about the hour of cardio I'm going to do tomorrow morning. Actually, no, I'm doing a half hour. 1 hour of cardio is a fucking lot. I'm going back to a half hour. I'm not in prep. I'm not in peak week. But every so often, you got to up the difficulty. So whether it's 30 minutes or an hour, I know that might be a certain period of time longer than an unfortunate amount of lifters are doing. So take with that what you will. But I'll see you tomorrow for what I pretty much know is going to be a nasty leg day.